Hey, welcome back to the Cable Data Science channel, Noah. As of course, my name is Dave, and I'm going to do a brief walkthrough of your code, your Markdown code, and I'm also going to show you a couple introductory things about R and RStudio, okay? But I must say one thing very important: that your R Markdown report looks very nice. The formatting, the use of the tables is very nice. Also, you about 99, most of your code is about 99% correct. There's a couple of things you could change, but just but the as long as you get the correct answer, that's all that really matters. And as long as it looks correct and you get the correct answer, that's what it matters. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that there's three different ways to. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the layout of our studios. Our studio. Okay, now when you first start up, there's two parts. There's our studio, which is this interface here, and then there's the R language itself. Okay, the current version of the R language is 4.1. Now, if you haven't upgraded to 4.1, I'll put a couple links in the video below to show you, to explain to you how to update to 4.1. Okay. The next thing with the point is you have the pane up here, and what this pane does, this contains generally two different things. It contains your scripts. In your case, the R Markdown scripts. It can also change. It can also have regular R scripts. Okay. Now, regular R scripts is okay. A regular R script, you can type your commands in here. Okay, you can type your commands in here, and then when you run the command, okay, you can click run, and it prints out the output of the command. You can also come up here, highlight them all, and click run, or you can click source. Okay. Now, a script or R Markdown, it can contain libraries, it can contain functions, functions that comes from libraries or functions that built in with R. Okay, remember, and as you know, R is a statistical language, so it contains a whole lot of built-in functions, statistical functions, like you use the GLIM function, which is the general linear regression model. That's a built-in function. Uh, the chi square is a function. That's another function you use. Okay, but if you come over here, right, and you and so again, this is one way to you can run in a script now. Now, if you do something like this, I want you to notice that when you first run this one here, uh, the output comes over here. But also does it returns. Okay, it simply returns the function, the call there. Again, now if you come over here, type A, you can see the output from that function. You can see the object this creates. Now I should have explained that objects consist of different types of objects, different types of R objects. Probably one of the most common ones you will use, and it's the one you're actually using first in your R Markdown script, is a data frame. Okay, so when you come over here and you read this file in here, it creates a data frame called mydat. Now, if you come down to this one that says environment, click on mydat, it'll open up the data frame. And what I want you to notice here, a data frame consists of rows and columns. It's like a table or a spreadsheet, but the columns have to have names. Okay. And when you're reading an Excel file, it's simply the column names from the spreadsheet. All right. Now, as always, if you come down here, I want you to notice also, again, this didn't actually create any output because you said take the output of this function, this command, and create an object, a data frame called myData. Now, there's different types of data frames. Let's take a look up here. What kind of, that's a type numeric. That's a double. Okay. So this is a character string, or it can also be a list. Okay. Lists don't have column names. Okay. Lists don't have column names. Vectors don't have column names. Okay. So it's continuing. It's continuing down here. Oh, I wanted to mention one thing here very quickly. Okay. That's the package menu. Okay. All your variables and your data and stuff goes appears in your environment file. File shows the file, all the files in the current working directory. You could open a new file by simply clicking on its name here. Connections you don't really use that much. This has to do with things like database connect. Now, the one I want to point out to you here is packages. One of the things you want to do is, I would say daily even, or at least once a week, you want to run the package followed by the update command. I mean, if you see some packages up here, you want to click on select all and then install updates. Okay. Now, if you run an update and you get a command that says, "Do you want to install this from source?" Say yes to that question. Okay. Of course, if you want to install a package, you click on install. I recommend that you use the install command from the package menu to install packages. Okay. It tends to do a little better job, particularly in dependencies. Okay. So now we got the other thing I recommend that you do is that you put all your libraries at the top of your data up here at the top. Okay, that way you always know exactly what you have loaded. Okay. So anyway, now let's move on to an R Markdown file. Okay. When you run an R Markdown file, you get a tab that says R Markdown, and this is where you'll see any error messages within your R Markdown. Okay. So you want to watch that. So we start off here. You load the read Excel library, then you read the data, you create a data frame, and then you do this. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that variable names are case sensitive. In the My Data frame, sex is spelled with a capital S, but over here you had a small s. So what it was doing is it created a different variable. It created a variable or column called S with a small s. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on that. And also, you can also, you can all. So you created a vector or a factor, which is good. That's correct. Marital status, again, you create a factor. No, I should point out here, the syntax, of course, as you all but you understand by this, is that so my dat is the data frame name. The $sign is separated between the data frame name and the variable or column you want to do something with. Okay. So now you come down here. Now, if you run this, what you see is there's no output. That's because you didn't tell it to print on the output. Okay, you're working with an object. So, as I see you below, and you use a summary command. Well, you could do something like a head command. Okay, and just print and just print sort of the first 10 rows or something like that. You could say a summary command. Okay, and notice because you're using factors here, it actually counts the different factors. So it actually says. So what it does, like in sex, you see that when you use a factor, it allows us the summary can actually count the different parts of that field. So you can see you have 33 females and 53 males. Down here, marital status, you have 24 married, 60 single, and 2 whatever that means. Okay, so that's the other thing you can do. You can also just print out. Let's just say all you want to see is just the numbers for sex. Now you got that. All right. Now I will point out that summary is a function, read Excel is a function, NA emits a function, as factors a function. So you can use any R function you want to with your data. Covariances, variances, standard deviation models, general linear regression, GLM models. These are all functions, and you can use any function you want to with this data. Let's try one more for fun of it. Let's just try. Let's see if we can do a standard deviation. Okay, so that didn't work, did it? Interesting. It doesn't like. Let's try quantile. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, not gonna be too concerned with that function right now. Then. Okay, now you come down here and you load pandas, and this produces a really nice plot. Okay, with some summary again with some summary statistics. And then you're doing some stuff here, some formatting. Now you come down here, and here you're doing some summary statistics. Again, you're not going to see any output from these commands because you redirect them to a variable. So we come down here now, run this, come to environment, and now you can see here's the variables you just created. Okay. Okay. And here's your variables again. Okay. We notice you had to use the panda command to actually print out these variables. Okay. Let's come down some more. Here you're using another library, the AOD library, and you're conducting a walled test. I don't know what that means, but let's see how this runs. Okay, so there's the output from the walls test. Now you do using the exponential function, but you're also using it with the column bind function, which is very good. Okay, it's a nice combination. So let's run that. And again, here's the output for that command. Okay. Now we come down here to the PROC. Again, I personally prefer to have all my libraries listed at the top in one place. So now you're running some commands for the general linear regression model. And again, because you're redirecting those to these objects called mod and mod 1 through 4, there's not going to be any immediate output. Okay. We need to come down here, and now you go do some plots. Use a par function to say you want what's it? What is it? You want you want you want uh, 3 rows by 2 columns. Is that it? Then you're doing your plots. Okay. So let's run this. See what we got. Okay. And now here's your plots. So you did 3 rows by 2 columns. So here's your plots there. Now here, all these variables here, you could produce this output using a function. Okay. But it's still okay. As long as you get it. Now you're loading another library. Now you're creating a data frame. Okay. I don't know what this function here is, but I'm sure you do. So let's run this. And here's some nice summary statistics again also. Now you're calling another library. Now you're going to do a plot. Now here's the thing. You don't need that there. Okay, because all you're doing is you're outputting a plot. So let's get rid of that. And now let's run this plot. Now as you can see now it's run the plot for you. Now you're coming down here and you're doing some more statistics. You create a data frame, P sensitivities. Okay, I don't know what that means, but that works. That's interesting. Okay. Here you can see we're getting an error here. I'm not quite sure what it is. Because when I ran it by itself, Let's run this from the top and see if we still get the variable. Okay, now the only thing I changed up here was, I think that's the only thing I changed. Huh, that's interesting. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Okay, so you pulled out the max variable. Okay, okay, that's fine. So we'll keep that as it is. Now we come down to the area we have to change. Okay, we load another library, and we run these two commands here. All right. Now, if we simply run this command here, and remember what I said up here? Data frames have to be made up of rows and columns, and you have to have column headings for each of the columns. Okay. So now, if we come down here, let's just run this. Let's just run this command here by itself. And we come down here and we look at p hat. See what happened? It, it's using the it basically took this thing up here and used it for the column name. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay. By the way, you know it says showing 1 of 12, 60 entries, 1 total columns. Well, that's not the correct name. That shouldn't be the name for the column. Okay, but that's what it does. Okay, and that's we come to the point we have to fix. Now, in giving credit where credit is due, the solution to this dilemma actually came from an organization called Slack. And I don't know if you recall, but you're actually part of Slack because you actually joined Slack also, and they're very good with helping with some of these kind of obscure commands. Okay, so the question was, how do I create a data frame from a list and give it a column heading? Here's the code I tried. All right. And this is where a guy named Andrew Bates gave us the answer. He said, and he says, this command should work for your original question. The square brackets accesses the first and only item in the list, which is a numerical vector. Okay? So what we do is, so what we're going to do, we're going to take that first vector, and we're going to give it a name of alpha. Okay? Because if we look at, let's see. Okay, but now it says this is a data frame, but it really isn't. So let's come back over here. Okay, so if you run this command here, now we take a second look at this. Now it's a data frame, and the column is called alpha. That's where like I say, I'll just remind you one more time. The Alpha Data Science group on Slack is a really outstanding group of people. They're incredibly helpful and patient, and as long as you show an effort, they'll give you all the help they can. Okay. But once you notice here that there's different forms or different message lists. So what you do, you click on say explore ranking. then you would type your then you would type your question in, and if you're using code of some type, okay, you can also type code in there and and wait for someone to give you an answer. Okay, so that's Slack. Okay, again, the channel is slack.com. There's also a Windows app and an app for iPhone and Android phones also. Okay. So all I did, I just took all this up here and I converted it with this code down here to create the correct variable, to create all these things down here. But again, if you want to display this, okay, you either have to input, you know, as before, either type the variable name, you know, or so forth. Okay. And now this stretch of code runs fine also. Right? And here you can see some. Here's the problem. You see, you got results. You don't want to create all the results because there's 60 rows. Okay, you don't want to print 60 rows out on your table, right? Okay, so now that command works. Like I said, you want to come back and you want to do something ahead or a summary or something like that with the results. Okay, and we come down here and we do our predictions, and here's the output from your two predictions. 1 unit increase in the variable, and that's the end of your command. That's the end of your script. So hopefully you found this a little helpful. Uh, hope to explain a little more about RStudio for you in R. Also explain to you, how to create different types of outputs and what errors you need and what minor change you need to make to tweak the code. Alrighty. So anyway, I hope you find this helpful, Noah. Of course, you can also reach me by text message, and if you need to, we can even set up a Skype meeting. Okay. Anyway, again, I hope you find this helpful. You did a really nice job with the R Markdown portion here, and your code is 99% correct. Okay. And again, no, the only reason I knew this part up here was because I asked about it on Slack. Okay. Just as a summary, I suggest that you move all your libraries to the top of the code. That way keep them all nice and tidy. Uh, Consider using some more summary statements for some of your variables here. The plots look very nice. Uses the power function works really well for you here. So anyway, any questions, comments, help with general R programming, by all means, just get in touch. Okay. So hope you find this video helpful, and we'll catch you hopefully later on with another question or two.